Check, check. Whoa, we have no true way of. I don't think I have a true way of testing audio. There is a new interface on this, and as you can imagine, it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. All right, yeah. So we got audio now. So basically, just came in here. Like I said, I just want to create a safe space for y'all to come in here and essentially speak your truth, speak your piece about why it is that Kendrick Lamar is not favorable to you or favored to you. Because as y'all know, this is the hottest topic of the season right now in terms of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. We are going to talk about it. I'm definitely going to talk about it. I want to get you guys' opinion on it, as well as just have a creative chat that's going to happen later on. But I feel like there's a very good chance that that Kendrick Lamar conversation is probably going to eat up away at a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight. So it is what it is. These are streams. They are kind of unpredictable. That's the beauty to them. I get to connect with y'all. We get to have fun. We get to chat and the whole 9 yards. So listen, man, we are going to get into it. If you are not doing so right now, I got a lot. I mean, I've never seen this many people jump in on the X side. And here's the truth, right, about X. I'm always nervous that like the viewership that I get on X is not just like a bunch of bots, right? So here's what I'm gonna make as an ask, right? As you guys are tuned in tonight, as y'all are streaming, checking me out on X, being part of the conversation, my ask is that y'all interact with the chat. I have it open right here. That will just let me know that I don't have a bunch of bots tuned into me, which is very refreshing in this day and age, if y'all know what I'm saying. I feel like every time I post my YouTube link, I do get like a bot just coming in talking about how to boost reach and how to get more subscribers and everything like that. So look, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the whole conversation and have a whole bunch of fun tonight. Yo, I really want to get into all of this. Stay with me. This is VividLife TV with Alex August. All right, so we're back and we're good and we're officially live. So let me just do this really quick. Y'all, welcome to it. This is VividLife TV with Alex August, a brand new, fresh stream, y'all. Like we always do at this time. I go for mine. Like we always do on any given Wednesday night, right here. We're streaming live on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Man, if you guys get an opportunity to check this out, yo, definitely drop in the chat. Let me know you're tuned in with me. We're gonna have a lot of conversation, like I mentioned, in terms of just things that are going on, things that are on and popping, a whole bunch of everything that's happening right now. But let me just actually start off with just what's been going on my end, and feel free to chat and chime in. Like I mentioned, the chat is very much live and open. Want to engage with you guys tonight. My week has been kind of interesting. The most interesting thing about this week is the fact that it is already May the 8th. That is insane to me. I feel like time is going by faster than I remember it ever going. Like, this is insane that like we are already at the 8th of the month, and things are just kind of steamrolling ahead. Last week, May 1st, was supposed to go live. I did not go live, and I'll be honest, I didn't go live on the strength of just, to be honest with you, these take a little bit of energy, and I didn't have it. Right, there was a lot going on last week, closing out the month at work, everything like that. But the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned last week, and I would definitely say it this week, is everybody keeps talking about summer's in 57 days and summer's coming. Get your summer body right. Summer is already here. I don't know if it's maybe because I went to, like, when I ended up going to college and stuff like that, and your spring semester would end at like the end of April, and then the summer terms would start, and like your whatever, your summer A's and your summer B's. But like, that programmed my mind so well to just understand and believe that like summer starts May 1st. Like, summer starts May 1st. That's when everybody's starting to go on their boats. That's beach season. Festivities are happening. Coachella then passed by. The warmer weather starts to kind of become more universal across the board, even if it's 70 something degrees, 69 degrees. If you're up north, I hear they like that. And then like, it's kind of a pre-summer, and then you get to Memorial Day. And at that point, like once you hit Memorial Day, dog, you're in summer. So you're in summer. Like, there's no summer's coming. Yes, there's the seasonal summer. There is, preparing for, actual summer, solstice, whatever. But for me, the most part, May 1st is summer. You're already making your summer plans if they're not already in place. You're getting your Memorial Day plans if they already are not in place. And as a Floridian, by the time summer comes, it's hurricane season. That's summer. That is a peak of summer. It starts raining, all that kind of stuff. So again, May 1st, summer is here. Someone please start dropping the summer lineups of events and festivals and activities that are going on and all that kind of stuff. Because I know on the Marvel World side, we're definitely getting all of that cooked up, getting that ready to start, putting out some events in the Tampa Bay area, including some streams as well. So definitely check that out and keep an ear for that. But yeah, I just want to see how y'all are doing. Yo, check in, drop it in the chat. How are y'all doing this week? How's everybody kicking it? How's everybody vibing? How has your work been? I am super sore. I got to give a shout out to the Rolling Proud Run Club, which is a young run club out here in Tampa that I joined recently. And I had been, I've been doing my runs. I've been running on occasion. This year I was like, all right, I got to really get these miles in every month. And I was getting super competitive with myself, and I joined this run club, and I did not know that there were 30-year-olds running 6-minute miles, right? I didn't know that. That shit caught me off guard. So I'm in a new space where I'm kind of running a little bit more competitively, and it is going pretty interestingly on that part. But just got to shout them out, man. They're doing dope stuff. So yeah, one little housekeeping tip here as well, man. Subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to Twitch as well. Any and all streams that are coming up are actually already available on my YouTube channel. The beauty to using this platform that I'm currently using is that I get to schedule these things out and I can create them in advance. So there's a whole bunch already available right now, including next week's stream, which is the World in Progress, right? That is a stream that actually an event that I do every year. Well, it's not a major event, like it's not an event, but just an announcement, where we are. Because May 1st, not only is it the start of summer, but for me, it's also the start of my kind of creative year, right? I will give you guys a full-blown schedule of what that looks like and how I do it for the most part. But that is definitely the beginning of my creative year, where I actually start pumping things out and making my announcements and getting ready for my end of year, which is always 7 months from now in Miami. Art Basel weekend. So dope stuff. Really want to get that going. And announcing just what it is that I'm, kind of kicking off and where I am with the initiatives that I started with for the year. Dope stuff, dope stuff. So, like I mentioned, Jeff, definitely check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/I am Alex August. I have a lot of screens kind of popping up and doing motions and stuff but yeah, check me out, youtube.com/Alex August. All of the streams are coming there. All the streams are already there. If you want to get notified once those streams go live, all you gotta do is just go there and just click notify me, and you will get a notification to your phone, to your computer, to your email, all that kind of stuff. Email is really dope, but I think when you get that to your phone, that's really, really dope. Which brings me to a point that's going to kind of segue a little bit into some of the other pieces that we got going on here, which is, so most people probably notice, but I have an Android phone. Like it's no big surprise, right, that I have an Android phone. I rock with the Google Pixel 8. I mean, sorry, I don't have the 8 yet. The Google Pixel 7 Pro. And so I have YouTube on my phone, right? No surprise, it's Google. But I never really noticed how badly people who don't have an Android have it when it comes to YouTube. And it makes so much sense why a lot of people don't watch YouTube, I guess, in the way that YouTube intends for it to be watched, right? For example, just something small, right? This goes into the whole Kendrick thing. Kendrick and Drake releasing music. Kendrick, I think, kind of did it smart releasing his music to YouTube first. I thought that was really dope for a number of different reasons. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But going to YouTube, and me, I'm just like, one, I don't see ads, right? I have YouTube Premium. It is paid for with my phone bill. I never have to worry about that. It's ad free. Number two, as an Android user, I have multitask. Like I forget that doesn't exist on an iPhone. Like you could just open YouTube, play the video you want to play, and then close YouTube, and it's still playing. Like everyone was like, "Oh, it's so hard to like tweet and listen to the song at the same time." And I'm like, "How? Like, what are you talking about?" And then I discovered that, of course, that's the reason why. So it's insane, right? But for me, whenever I'm thinking about like how I'm watching YouTube, or how I'm creating content for YouTube, specifically these streams, I definitely have to consider the fact that how I would watch this stream is going to be very different from how other people would watch this stream. And so with that being said, I'm always open to feedback about VividLife TV. I'm always open to feedback about how I do these streams, because it's super important, right? I know that when I'm watching lives like, Nightcap with Uncle and Shannon Sharp, or Shannon Sharp and Ocho, like I'm watching it and I'm tweeting them at the same time, or I'm watching it, I'm on Instagram at the same time. It's kind of it's playing in the background of my phone the same way Spotify would. That is not the same for iPhone users, or probably anyone else. I think maybe even Samsung. I'm not sure, but I think that also creates an opportunity to watch YouTube like it's TV, casting it on the TV, or if you have a multi-screen setup like I do, I have 3 screens right here, having like YouTube up on a monitor, and just kind of taking it from there. But either way, I think it's very interesting, and I'm very interested to see how everyone is actually digesting YouTube content in that manner. Because like I said, going back to the Kendrick thing, I thought that was really, 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 really interesting. So let's get it. Let's be part of the stream. Let me just drop something in the Twitter chat real quick. Chime in tonight. But yeah, y'all, it is very much, it's a good time, yo. I really, hold on, let's see if I can get this. All right, boom. And we will send that to everybody. All right, so here is the thing, right? I got a couple of things that I'm just going to kind of flash across the screen. As you guys know, I've been kind of changing up how I do social media. Like, um, social media is changing, so it's not like these changes are just coming out of everywhere. I think as social media changes, I'm starting to figure out what it is that I actually want this all to be. And so I've been doing VividLife TV since December, and found that there is just some shows that I really like because I feel like it was super interactive. The content was great. I could pull a lot from it, or it was really good content that I could just dump into it. And for those that don't know, I do have an interest in movies, as you see at the bottom of the screen here. But with social media, sometimes it's this whole idea of having one niche, right? Having one quarter of myself spread across the internet and creating content for all that is difficult. But even though it's difficult, I think it's kind of still cool to have one place where all of that stuff can exist, almost like in a collaborative, or not a collaborative, but in a little like dumbing place. So Vivid Life TV will start to become that, right? I talk a lot about movies. I watch movies all the time. I'm an AMC Stubs member, A-lister, or whatever it's called. And then also I just watch a lot of movies at home. I also have an Instagram page called the Uncasual Moviegoer, where the intention is to create content and talk about movie reviews, upcoming movies, and the whole nine yards. Which also includes, but not limited to, the possibility of this summer doing live screenings, movie nights, and things like that. So there's just so much that can be done with these kinds of things. But I also think it's really dope to come to YouTube and to do these streams, and also, being able to do this, to drop this week's movie recommendations, and sharing like content about movies like Late Night with the Devil. If you haven't heard of it, a good movie. It's not an M. Night Shyamalan movie, I promise y'all. But it's got man, I don't remember his name. But he's been in Batman as the Scarecrow, and he was in, I don't think that was him as the Scarecrow, actually. I think that was Cillian Murphy. But he's in Ant-Man as like the guy who works with T.I., and he's like a foreigner or something like that. But really good, solid movie. I also watched Men, which is a crazy movie. And it's cool to just have this where we interact, we talk. There's so much to be spoken about on one stream, and then we kind of just take it from there, right? Being able to do this again and creating content and channeling that content into here makes so much sense. So we will continue to do that as we continue on. This stream is still being built. Like, this is not, there is no perfection to this. I feel like it's more of a completion game than it is a perfection game. And so with that, like tonight's stream, we get to kind of talk about the hottest topic in all of the world right now, which is Kendrick versus Drake, right? It's kind of an interesting storyline, right? I don't even have to go into all that because I feel like we've all been keeping up with it. But my first question that I have to ask, and I've been asking this especially this morning with some news that came forward, is like, how bad has this gotten, right? This started off as just, I don't know, like I was actually a little caught off guard. I should say this. Slightly caught off guard at the fact that Kendrick and Drake were not getting along. And it's one of those things because I can remember, A$AP Rocky's song, right? I can remember Poetic Justice. Like, these two have worked together before, right? They are not, in my opinion, while they are contemporaries, they didn't come from the same bracket. They didn't come from the same freshman class. I don't consider Kendrick, and I don't know why. I can't really tell you why, but I don't consider Kendrick like a blog era rapper. I feel like he might be, or he is, and he might just be at the real end cusp of it. If y'all disagree, let me know in the chat. But I don't consider Kendrick a blog era rapper. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't take away anything from him. I just think he came as that had already ended or would have already ended. Maybe I just found out about him later. I actually don't remember exactly when Section 80 came out. Now I gotta Google it. I feel like Section 80 is 2011. That's no way. Overly Dedicated. Okay, Overly Dedicated is 2010. Maybe. Yeah. I guess we can call him. Either way, right? I wouldn't have really had it on my bingo cards of people who have beef. But here's the thing about Drake, right? Here's the thing about Drake that I've kind of noticed over the years, right? If you remember back in 2011, 2012, right around when Take Care came out and stuff like that, people used to make fun of Drake. They used to say he was soft and he was sensitive and he was he was all that stuff. He's soft, he's sensitive, he's light-skinned, light-skinned niggas this, light-skinned, and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like what we were not really observing in all of those jokes we were telling was that Drake was emotional, right? Drake is an emotional dude. And when you look at everyone who Drake has an issue with, it's not strangers. And that to me that's interesting, right? It's kind of like if I met somebody or if you met somebody, right? And you're like, oh man, it seems like everyone they know, they always have a fallout with them. You'd be like, I don't know if I want to hang out with this person, right? One or two people, all right, cool. I don't know the story, whatever. But like this person always has a fallout. Everyone they work with, everyone they know, everyone they talk to, everyone, they have a fallout with them. They go for a girl, the girl doesn't like them, or the girl kind of turns them down. They have a fallout. You would eventually be like, all right, something's kind of up with this person, right? And again, here's something that I should also say too. I don't know Drake personally, right? So the weight of this doesn't really matter to me on a personal level, but it does affect, in my opinion, it affects the music, right? It affects the music because now you have albums where rather than just giving us really good music, you have music that is reacting to the real world. It's music that's reacting to something. And Kanye used to do the same thing too. Rather than giving us an interview, he would give us a song about a situation. And even those songs were also not great, right? There are songs on Scorpion, which came out in 2019, I think Scorpion came out. Let's see here. Scorpion, there are songs that came out on Scorpion. Okay, June 29th. That's so 100% fair. Okay, I'm going to negate what I was just about to say. But there were songs after Scorpion. There were songs on, Drake has had a lot of albums. There are songs on, what came after Scorpion? Certified Lover Boy? That it's just like, oh, are you still talking about Pusha T? Like now you're still talking about Pusha T? It's a little late. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, it just, now you're talking about Kanye, right? And it's the same thing with Kanye. Like you You lose the opportunity to create a great song with Life of the Party with Andre 3000, right? Because you wanted to do a song that was just completely dissing Drake the whole time. Like, how did you find that beat to be the appropriate beat to do that? How did you find that situation, right? And so that's kind of been my thing with Drake, is that Drake gets into these tissies, he gets into these fits, and it has affected his music, right? Drake's bangers, his classics, his good stuff, his timeless music, his iconic jams are not songs that are reacting to situations going on in the world or in his, the beefs, the little squabbles and stuff like that. Nah, man, like you the singing ass nigga. Like you are the radio billboard rap pop guy. Just keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like started from the bottom, now we here. That is a universal song that we all gravitated towards. And we're just like, you know what? Started from the bottom, now we here. You wasn't shooting with me in the gym. Like those lines, right? And so if I had to say I had a problem with Drake, that would probably be the only thing that I'm just like, yeah, man, like it was going really great. And then it wasn't. I feel like Drake I'm looking at his albums. Nothing Was the Same was a great album. Beautiful follow-up to Take Care. More Life was cool. Views, I think, is one of his best. And everything after Views thereafter was like, what is wrong with you? Right? Like, what is this? Scorpion, great album. I don't know if I would call it a timeless album, right? And I have my whole thing about timeless versus classic. An album can be classic and timeless, but it's not always the same. Like a classic album isn't always a timeless album, and a timeless album is not always a classic album. I can give you examples. For example, let's see here. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is a classic album. I don't know if it's timeless. I don't know in 30 years, 20 years, 15 years from now, if we will still be bumping My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Will we play it? And when we hear something, we're like, oh my God, it takes me back to 2010. Yes. But if it takes you back to 2010, it's not timeless. Back That Ass Up is a timeless album, right? No one cares. I mean, yes, we say take it back to the 99 and 2000 because he says it in the song. But like, no one is like, oh my God, it definitely takes me back to 99 and 2000. No, because so many people were 9 years old and 10 years old in 99 and 2000. But when you hear that song, you're going to shake that ass. That's classic and that's timeless. Cool. We've established that, right? And if I'm just off the marker, let me know what y'all opinions are. If you completely disagree with me, drop it in the chat. Let me know. Thumbs down this video. And if you kind of feel like what I'm saying is making a lot of sense and a lot of logic, also let me know, right? And so I say all that to say that going into the Kendrick and Drake situation, I'm kind of just like, I wouldn't have really, it kind of would have went over my head that they had issues, but it made sense because the issue that Kendrick had with Drake is twofold. Number one, Kendrick said on his album, Mr. Morale in the High Steppers, that watching him and Kanye make up and perform together didn't sit well with him. He was like, I'm not that mature, which is an interesting take. And number two, there is something that Kid Cudi said about Drake also, which is that, he doesn't really respect him because he doesn't write his own lyrics. Pusha T also said he doesn't write his own lyrics. Andre 3000 also said very subliminally, right, kind of along the lines of like, I respect how well everyone is doing, but I am disappointed to find out that y'all are not writing your lyrics. So like this has been going on for a little while now, bro. Like kind of everyone kind of being like, whoa, you're a manufactured artist. Or as I said today on Twitter, like Drake he's a content creator, right? I'm looking at the timeline. He's got 2013, he's got 2016, and then he got 2016 and 2017. But I know that somewhere in between that 2013, 2016, and 2017, there's also, if you're reading this, it's too late. So this man has been pumping out albums like left and right, right? And yes, it charts. Yes, it goes platinum. Yes, it goes Grammy. Yes, it does all those things. But like, yeah, you can do that when you've got writers on your side, right? So that's that. So now let's go into the actual thing. I'm gonna just lay it out like this, y'all. Who won between the two? Did Kendrick win? Did Drake win? As I mentioned on Twitter, this is a safe space. Y'all let me know what y'all honestly believe. No one has fully gone into their bias, right? Because I like to admit a bias. I already lean heavier towards Kendrick because Kendrick is more of an artist, like way more of an artist in his craft than Drake. I like the artistry. I like every single Kendrick Lamar album. There are some that I like just like a regular like, and then there are others that I'm just like, wow, man, this was great. Mr. Morale and the High Steppers or the Big Steppers was that album for me. I didn't know that y'all didn't like it. Cool. I'm older. I like a certain kind of music. I like a certain kind of message in my music. And so I have my bias, right? I mean, my bias is that Drake has good music. I don't know if Drake has a good persona, I guess, right? Like the persona falls into the music sometimes, and I'm like, that I don't really want to hear that, right? I don't want to hear Drake talk about being hard and having shooters and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to hear that, right? I don't know if it's believable. I don't care to like question it, but like it's not take care of Drake, and that's okay. He's evolved, whatever. But going into this battle and listening to what I've heard so far, Kendrick won. Kendrick 1000% won, bro. Like, so over this past weekend, I was out in Orlando for my sister-in-law's birthday, Orlando area. And it was actually a really nice little disconnect weekend. I knew it was going to be that. I wanted it to be that. So it was great in that regard. Just good opportunity to step away from life a little bit, put the phones down, you know, unless you're like taking videos or playing music on the Bluetooth, you know, speakers and stuff like that. And then Kendrick dropped. And it literally became like Kendrick dropped another one. And everyone was just like, dude, what is happening? Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone's having a good time. And it's like, all right, put it on the TV. We got to listen to this. And like, this is like, I have the question here. How bad has it gotten? Meaning, you know, as soon as I heard and Joe Budden actually, he was the first person to actually drop this, or at least it was on his podcast, that like Drake fell for the bait. And the bait that Drake fell for was the lines about comparing the two of them to Michael Jackson and Prince. Kendrick said he was like Prince. He said Prince outlived Mike Jack. And Drake bit on that. And the comparison between the two, as they said on the Joe Budden podcast, was that was going to lead down a road towards allegations. Now, where have we gotten so far? Kendrick in every single song has been like, hey, chill, calm down, just relax there, buddy. Hey, chill, calm down, just relax there, buddy. And Drake did not. Drake dropped Family Matters. Apparently, some people think Family Matters is the best song out of all of the diss tracks. I don't know that it is, right? I don't know that it is. I kind of don't feel like it is. Long song. Is he spitting? He's spitting like Drake, right? Sounds like a Drake song. Kendrick has called Drake out by name, right? And yeah, so and now we are at the point where we have the PDF allegations, right? PDF file allegations, right? And that put Drake in a really bad spot. And to me, unfortunately, that is why I say unbiased. That's why I say Kendrick won. Because if you look back, Pusha T versus Drake, you are hiding a son, putting forth the Adenon, right, with Drake in the blackface, talking about the fact that his baby mom is like a porn star. You are hiding a son, all this kind of thing. People are like, oh no, leave the families out of it. Do you guys watch battle rap? Like, that's always my question with these things is like, do you watch battle rap? Like, battle rap is always going to be the baseline of taking shots at each other in the form of rap. There's no limits on battle rap. There's nothing you can say that's out of line in battle rap. Like, it is what it is. Like, you say the thing that's gonna hit the hardest and have the shock value, and you're gonna say the thing that's gonna make the crowd go ooh, and then you're gonna say it with the bars and the double entendres to make it like really drive in. When it was Meek Mill versus Drake, what did we say? Oh, snap. Is it your girls tour? Is it your world tour? Your girls tour? He got body by singing nigga, like all of those things. Like it was free game. Like he exposed all of Meek Mill's weak points. And with Kendrick and Drake, let's be honest, right? Meek Mill versus Drake was 9 years ago. Back to Back came out in 2016, 2015, 8-9 years ago. That also propelled Drake a little higher, in my opinion, as well. Did very well for views. Like, it helped views so much, that beef. So Drake is a bigger superstar now than he is then. So there's just certain things that he thought he was bulletproof. A lot of people thought he was bulletproof, but now, nah, dog. Nah. PDF file allegations, hard to beat, dog. And the hard part about that for Drake, which is why he's gone so freaking quiet over the last couple of days, is all of this stuff is information that was already available in the public. Like, people keep talking about like, oh, these are just allegations, where are the receipts, blah, 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 blah. This is not hidden information. Like, the receipts, Google Drake and Millie Bobby Brown. Like, just Google it. Like, Google how many underage girls like Drake has shut down restaurants to take them on dates. Like, it's out there, right? But he's been doing so well that it's almost like, I don't know, people forgot, or they didn't know, or they didn't search hard enough. And bruh, that's a tough cookie to beat, bruh. So bars, creativity, delivery, pacing, the release times, the release dates, the bars, the creativity, and the digs. I don't feel like Drake said anything that was damning about Kendrick. I mean, he talked about his baby mom, but it was already found out that like she was never following Kendrick to begin with. And I don't blame her. Kendrick don't post. Why am I following this nigga that don't post? Right? It doesn't make sense. But Drake just overall, just the information is damning. This morning, apparently one of Drake's bodyguards, and this is why I asked how bad has it gotten? How bad will it get? One of Drake's bodyguards got shot this morning. It was reported. And of course, I think the first thing everybody thinks of is Kendrick. But apparently it's not Kendrick. Apparently it is The Weeknd. OVO and XO. The Weeknd is XO. Drake is OVO, obviously. But apparently that beef is hard. It is real life beef. Didn't know that The Weeknd would be, have shooters, but this is wild, right? The situation is just blown up into something just much bigger. But yeah, one of Drake's bodyguards got shot this morning in the drive-by in front of his house. And it has gotten to that point. He's not dead, or at least as of this morning when it was reported, he's not dead. Found unconscious in front of the house, bullet hole in the chest. Crazy, right? Crazy, absolutely crazy. So it just goes to show that, like, man, I can't say that it does suck, but also my whole thing with this is, like, everyone gets so excited every time a rap beef comes up, right? And then who do we start comparing rap beefs to? And this is kind of what I'm talking about with, like, Days of Future Past. Everyone gets excited about rap beef. And then when something happens, everyone is freaking out. They're like, oh my God. Like, do you not, like, this stuff gets serious, bro. Like, getting excited about rap beef to me is odd. Do I get excited about the bars? Yeah, but when I'm listening to these bars, I know that at any given point, these bars can go over the top and can create mess, right? First off, fuck your, fuck your clique, fuck your crew and your clique, you claim, West Side, all that kind of stuff, right? I'm trying to cite, hit him up, and I can't right now. But, like, that immediately jumped off. Like, I fucked your wife. Like, immediate jump off, bro. Like, these things can get toxic so fast. So unfortunately, we are there. And unfortunately, who knows where this is going to lead to. Drake's address is on the internet, so probably wasn't very hard for them to pull up by way of Kendrick. But also, I'm pretty sure Kendrick didn't put Drake's house on the internet. Drake is Drake. Every millionaire's house is known. Like, someone knows where millionaires live. They're called the paparazzi, right? There's articles about, Rick Ross buying this house. Tom Brady just bought a house on Davis Island, and they tell you where it's at. Like, there's the privacy is not really there for celebrities. So it is what it is. But I think it's gonna continue to get either uglier on that front, or Drake is gonna try to play the silent game where he just tries to act like this is not happening. I honestly believe that Drake is going to try to just play I don't even know what you're talking about. I went out of town. It was my girl's birthday. And, like, he's going to just try to do that whole thing. I have a really good feeling that that's going to be the conclusion and kind of where this goes. Which, if Drake knows anything about his success with Meek Mill, that's not going to happen, dog. Because Not Like Us is a bop. And anytime you have a diss track that is a bop, that is sing-songy, bibbity bop, fun to dance with, that person just made it fun to make fun of you. And it is really hard to run from that. Drake is not running from this song. He can do cease and desists all he wants. That song is playing everywhere already, which goes back to the whole thing about what I was talking about YouTube earlier, which is like, dude, let me just see this number here. Euphoria has 18 million streams on YouTube alone. That was 8 days ago. Meet the Grahams, which is probably the most damning song the hardest song in all of this, has 20 million views on YouTube. Not Like Us has 26 million views on YouTube. That is 46 plus 18. 46 plus 18. That's about 65. And then meet the no, not Meet the Grahams. What's the other one here? 616 in LA has 2.9 million. So there's about good call, bro. I keep making that mistake. So there's about 66 to 67 million views just on YouTube. And I'm gonna tell you why that was genius on Kendrick's part. Like I mentioned earlier, some of y'all were probably not here. But most people's YouTube on their iPhones does not, it doesn't, like iPhones don't have multitask, right? So in order to listen to this, the people who stream this X amount of millions of times, they either listened to it on their phone the first time, went back, tweeted the lyrics, right? Closed Twitter, went back into YouTube, listened to it again, closed it, went back, because you can't listen to it in full on an iPhone, right? And then you got to go listen to it on the computer. So after all of that, of course, that's why everyone started being like, yo, put it on streaming, put it on streaming, put it on streaming. I thought about this and I was like, yo, this was really genius. Put it on streaming, put it on streaming, put it on streaming, because it's uncomfortable to try to listen to a song on YouTube if you don't have multitask. This is why I keep telling y'all I get an Android phone, which I don't want to listen to Alex, right? So it's uncomfortable to listen to it on without multitask. Once you put it on streaming on your Apple Music and all that, not a person gets a chance to listen to it in full and fully digest the whole thing. And that is where the numbers go crazy. I don't believe anybody showed up to Drake's spot. You know, there's a lot that came out this morning that sounds more damning to Drake than anything else. And shout out to Trey First Class in the building, bro. I see you working. I see you doing dope stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that's come out on Drake's part that I feel like is fabricated information. For example, this morning there was a post that mentioned that Universal Music Group and Drake and Kendrick and PG Lang and OVO, they were all on a Zoom call this morning, and it was like, you know, the allegations against Drake are making Nike, UMG, and someone else lose money. And it was just like someone had to come forward, and they were like, I'm glad they did. I don't know if you guys follow Phil. I gotta pull up his name, but he is our community's newsman, right? On Twitter, he is really solid with all of the news and the information. But he made a good point. He was like, TMZ didn't report this. Like, there's no way that information would have came out without TMZ's awareness, which I agree, right? So there's just a lot of that little like fabricated information to kind of make the situation seem more on fire than it is. It may be Kendrick fans. The fans are definitely adding way more fuel to the fire than what's actually happening, right? Especially unfortunately on Drake's side, right? He's got all these bots and he's got all these, you know, these random like things. If you tweet Drake's name right now or say something about Drake, like a whole bunch of bots and people just kind of come out of nowhere, man. So it's crazy. It's very, very crazy situation. But I agree with Trey First Class. Kendrick won, and I can't see how anyone can like formulate an unbiased opinion and say that that's not the case. Like it's really hard for me to be like, and I could be unbiased. I could say like, hey yo, if Kendrick wasn't spitting, whatever, I wouldn't. But like again, shock value, um, delivery, timing, the overall impact, the quality of the song, like, whoa, Kendrick takes it all away. I think by the time Euphoria was a good hit, I'm like, okay. By the time not Meet the Graham, no, by the time 616 in LA came out, I was like, this is looking like Kendrick's gonna take this. Meet the Grams came out. I was like, oh yeah, this is a closed case. Not like us. I'm like, well, at that point, you might as well not. And then don't reply. Don't reply. So yeah, let's change speeds a little bit. Let me know what y'all think about this whole Kendrick and Drake situation. I talked about that for a little minute. It's just very, very interesting and very, very calculated. I always think of like when I think of like revenge stories and calculated villains and things like that, I'm glad you said this because this is another thing too, dog. Kendrick took the copyright off the songs, bruh. Like that to me. Hold on, there's a new way for me to do this, so I gotta kind of learn a little bit. Kendrick took the copyright off the songs. I could play the song right now, y'all, and it won't get taken down off of YouTube. And that to me is, dog. That to me is really that's the hit. That's the story right there. And you know which one I'm gonna play. I can't not. People. It's probably not gonna play all the way clear. Put it on that beat. Nope. Hi. Oh no. Oh, let me see if I do this real quick. Monster on the beat, ho, Debo, any rap nigga, he a freak throw, man down, call like. All right, let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away. I really wish there was a better way. I wish there was a better way to string on YouTube. In fact, it's on. Man, hold on. I was listening to it earlier. It's on Spotify, and we have already seen how many people have been playing this song across everything, yo. Tell him breathe, bro. Nella nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton. Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to school with him. Walking down whole time, I know he got some hoe on him. Pull on him, extort shit, really the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better never go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. Like, yo, like, for real, it's really looking bad for Drake. I'm not saying he's gonna get arrested. Hell, Diddy still hasn't gotten arrested and they raided that whole boy house, right? Not saying any of that, but nah, bro. I it just makes more sense to play the video, but there's so much bandwidth that's needed for that. But there's no coming back from this, bro. Tell me Trev's the only one that get your hand-me-downs and party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baka got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck him up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you chilling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. Like, I remember listening to this by myself in the corner and then going back and letting the greater group that I was with listen to it. And I specifically wanted to see if everyone was going to catch that line. And everyone's face did the same thing. Everyone was like, oh, ooh. It was just like,
They not like us. 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 You think that they gon' let you disrespect Pop, nigga? I think that open show gon' be your last stop, nigga. They cold foul. I don't know why you still pretending. What is the owl? Bird niggas and bird bitches go. The audience not dumb. Shape the stories how you want. Hey Drake, they're not slow. Rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further, I promise. Ain't that something? Be rest, that's for bitching. You Malibu most wanted. Ain't no love boy, you ball boy. Fish Gatorade or something. Since 2009, I had this bitch jumping. You niggas will get a wedgie. You flipped over your boxes. Holding your foe. The other vaginal option. Pussy. Nigga better straighten they posture. Got famous all up in content. Might write this with a document. Tell a pop star quit hiding. Fuck a caption, won't action. No accident. I'm hands on. He fuck around, get polished. Fucked on Wayne Grow. He was in jail. That's conniving. Then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. I'm glad D-Rose came home. Y'all didn't deserve him neither. From Alondra down to Central. Nigga better not speak on Serena. And your homeboy needs subpoena. That predator moving flocks. That name gotta be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. I lean on you niggas like another line of walk. Yeah, it's all eyes on me and I'ma send it up the pot. Ay, put the road label on me. I'ma get them top. Ay, sweet chin music and I won't pass the ox. Ay, how many stocks do I really have in stock? Ay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Ay, devil is a lie. Here's 69 God. Ay, freaky ass niggas need to stay their ass inside. Ay, roll their ass up like a fresh pack of Zod. Ay, city is back up. It's a must. We outside. Ay.
they not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Once upon a time, all of us.
So here's my thing. Good point from Trey. I don't even remember what the last song Drake released was called. Like, what was it? It wasn't Family Matters. It was the heart part 6. Drake sounded down bad, y'all. Like he kind of sounded very down bad. And he sounded down bad, bro. Like Drake sounded like he was in the studio crying before that. In his feels, just trying to hold on as best as he can. Somebody may be rubbing his back, you know what I mean? There's like teardrops on the rap sheet from what he wrote. He wrote it himself, right? Because the ghostwriters are just like, bro, we can't help you with this one. It wasn't good. And I didn't even listen to the whole thing. I got through maybe 2 minutes of it, and I was like, yeah, bro, you're falling apart, dog. You're falling apart. So yeah, it wasn't good. And he's not gonna recover from that. He's not gonna recover from any of this.
So send chains, homie, still double down, calling us some slaves. Atlanta was the mecca, building railroads and trains. Bear with me for a second, let me put y'all on game. The settlers was choosing town folk to make them richer. Fast forward 2024, you got the same agenda. You run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. Let me break it down for you. This the real nigga challenge. You caught Future when you didn't see the club. Hey, what? Little baby help you get your lingo up. What? 21 get your false street cred. Hell, make you feel like you a slime in your head. Hey, what? Rainbow said you could be from Northside. What? 2 Chainz say you good, but he lied. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. No, you not a colleague, you a fucking colonizer. The family matter and the truth of the matter. Here was God's plan to show y'all the liar.
So somebody made a really good point. Was it Top Dog that said it? I think Top Dog said it, which is Kendrick might have been holding these songs for a little minute. Apparently, this has been kind of playing in the background. This has kind of been boiling in the background for quite some time, which is kind of makes sense because First Person Shooter came out in First Person Shooter came out last fall. So now the big question becomes, bro, how did Kendrick respond to Family Matters that fast. That was, to me, that was the thing that I was just like, all right, bro. Like, I don't know how he did that, but it was like playing Little Joker and thinking you were gonna get the book, and there goes Big Joker. Like, yep. You counted the cards wrong, bro. Push-ups was hard, but this destroys it because we heard it after. Oh, you're saying like the order of Drake's songs is what didn't work for Drake? Is that a possibility? Is that real? I don't know about that. Drake would have had to come forward with like Family Matters first. Like, they were literally playing spades, bro. Like, each one of them would drop what, 4 songs each? Like, he would have had to play Family Matters first. And I don't think it matters the order that he released the songs, because, like I said, nothing he's released is as damning to Kendrick as what Kendrick has released being as damning to him. Like, at all. I don't even think it scratches him the same way. Like, at all. I don't think it. Right. I agree with this right here. Drake played on having a popular song, not a diss record, which goes all the way back to this is like what I honestly believe, right? In this day and age of social media and all that kind of stuff, God forbid, right? God forbid anyone has any conflicts with anybody, right? I hope everyone, operates out of love, and I hope everyone is cool, right? Everyone jolly, happy, joy, all that kind of stuff. But like, in this day and age, right? You kind of gotta treat your enemies like your enemies. Like, your enemies are your enemies. Like, there's a reason why we say the devil is busy when our enemies are busy, right? You really have to treat it like that. And I feel like Drake didn't do that. I feel like Drake doesn't realize, or didn't realize, how many bridges he has burned over the last couple of years. That's the only way I can think of this. Like, you didn't know you burned bridges with The Weeknd. You didn't know you burned bridges with Ross. You didn't know, like, almost naively, but also like kind of ignorantly. Like, you didn't know how bad your relationships were with these people. Like, French Montana hasn't even called you. You know what I'm saying? And French Montana has to call everybody because he can't drop a hit by himself. So it's kind of like just purely naive. Oh, I'm gonna drop a radio hit. It's gonna go big because I'm Drake. Like, oh, okay, nigga. But he started a battle rapping flow after he dropped the rhythmic stuff. Too late. It wasn't the flow. I mean, Drake is gonna rap like Drake. It's kind of like, actually, it's a very good example. It's kind of like Nicki Minaj, right? Once Safari got out of the picture writing Nicki's rhymes for her, like, Nicki couldn't change her flow. Like, Nicki couldn't not rap like Nicki, just like the baby. The baby has finally stretched his muscles in a way where he can run and rap not like the baby from 2019, right? And he still rap like the baby from 2019, right? Drake really hasn't had a reason to evolve, bro, because he's a real battle rapper. Are we talking? Is that about the baby, Drake? It's just, I don't know, man. Drake just kind of went out hard. He's going out bad. He's going out bad, dog. And again, back to back. If you listen to back to back, going back to Meek Mill and Drake, back to back made it fun and catchy to make fun of Drake. That's the one thing that I will say Drake should have really, he was lucky with Pusha T. Pusha T doesn't have catchy songs like that. Pusha T's not really a radio hit. Like, he's not a radio hit guy. His album's gonna sell well, his shows are gonna sell out all the time, all those kind of things. But Pusha T is not a radio guy. You've never heard My Name Is My Name on the radio. I don't think a single song off of It Runs Dry is on the radio. Like, you don't hear it. And so you had to know Pusha. I remember having a conversation at work back then, and we were talking about Pusha, or I should say I was talking about Pusha T and the Drake beef. And like all of my coworkers, yes, they were all like, who's Pusha T? So I was like, okay, Drake was safe. You know, Drake was very, very safe from that situation. But Kendrick, this song has made it so catchy to just make fun of Drake that, you know, yeah. He came strategically. He recorded his tracks in one day and dropped them strategically. I feel like you're talking about Kendrick right there. And I agree. That's the only way. That is the only way. But I also feel like part of that strategy is, I do believe that someone in Drake's camp had to be leaking information. Had to. And I say that for a number of reasons. Again, I don't want to sound like a meteorologist, like I've been studying this for 20 years. But if you look at the situation with Pusha T and Drake flew out to Wyoming to go to Kanye's retreat where he was recording Nas's album, Tiana Taylor's album, Kids See Ghosts, Ye, and Daytona, right? They found out about Drake's son either through Drake himself, which is what Drake said, but the story has also changed that someone in Drake's camp talked about his son, right? So it just kind of seems like historically there might not even be a mole for real. It just seems like someone in your camp is always talking, right? Leaking information. And not for nothing, when I think of Drake's camp, I don't think of the same kind of people I would imagine to be in Kendrick Lamar's camp. I think of like bloggers or blogger looking dudes, you know, just people who are happy to be along, like a Justin LaBoy looking kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. I found out about his son through Pusha T. Found out about his son. No, yeah. But like, apparently, according to what Drake said on the Shop podcast with LeBron James and all of them, he mentioned that they had it was almost like a retreat, and they had all got real vulnerable, and basically Drake was just like, yeah, you know, my life is changing right now. I have a son. And they were all just like, oh, you have a son? And I guess he thought that they would just keep that under wraps. And of course, the whole story goes, Kanye said he was going to give him the Lift Yourself beat. And then he left and went home. And the next day he heard it on the radio. So maybe it's Drake. Maybe Drake's the one who's talking about this. Either way, there's not a lot of information that needed to be leaked from Drake's camp other than, hey, he's releasing a song called Family Matters, talking about your ring and da-da-da-da-da. Millie Bobby Brown, and I kind of also feel like it's funny because he mentioned Millie Bobby Brown and Kendrick did not. Kendrick didn't say anything about Millie Bobby Brown. He didn't say any names about any people Drake went anywhere with. And Drake came out of nowhere talking about Millie Bobby Brown. Lord have mercy. Because there's videos of Drake. Actually, there's videos of Millie Bobby Brown talking about her relationship with Drake. And it's just like, yo, why is this 15-year-old talking about she went to dinner and a date with Drake on the red carpet? Let's find that video. So it's crazy, man. It's very, very crazy. And this girl makes me, she's kind of uncomfortable, to be honest with y'all, because yeah, she's very weird, in my opinion. I'm not gonna go into that, but just gonna drop this link. Millie Bobby Brown talks Drake. And it's genuinely like, again, why is this? At the time, I think she was 15 years old. She's like, yeah, Drake messages me and he gives me advice about boys. Like, what? What? What are you doing, bro? Don't be weird. But yeah, oh my goodness, we have talked about Drake and Kendrick for the longest, but it's hot news, yo. So it's like it's really hard to not talk about. I'm going to shift gears a little bit to another hot topic that I just checked out last night, which was insane, like absolutely insane, kind of crazy actually. But I watched the roast of Tom Brady, y'all, and I'm not gonna lie. For y'all that don't know, I've been a Tom Brady fan for a while. He was actually like the first. I think that was the first draft that I ever watched, like all the way through the 2000 draft, which was boring. I did not watch Tom Brady get drafted. I'm not even gonna cap with y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and lie in y'all face and say that I waited until 6th round, pick 199. But I watched the draft that year. I got Madden 2001 that year, so it was like cool. That was the year that I committed to like full on watching football. And so it just kind of went Drew Bledsoe all the way through to the Brady, watching Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. And I've been a Tom Brady fan since, which means I watched a lot of the Patriots, which is not hard when you're from Miami, because who was beating up on the Dolphins all through the 2000s, right? Who? Tom Brady. So I was like, oh, you know, guy's kind of good. That's that one guy from Michigan. I remember him. All right, cool. And so I've been a fan of Brady for a while, seeing him win all Super Bowls. I've watched every Patriots Super Bowl, even the devastating 2 losses to the Giants, the devastating loss to the Eagles, whatever. So I was kind of excited to watch the roast. I'm like, okay, Brady is really like outside of his shell. Like, this is not the Brady we used to see all buttoned up in New England, which I like that a lot, because it's like I could tell that the New England organization wants to be this very proper and prim organization that holds a certain kind of image and whatnot like that, right? I could tell just the way that they handled the Aaron Hernandez situation, the way that they have handled other people, Lawyer Malloy, Rodney Harrison, Randy Moss. There's a respect factor, and then there's also the just like, hey, yo, we don't do that here factor, right? And so watching last night, I'm like, damn, Tom done loosen up, man. He really on the he's Tampa Bay Tom more than he's anything else, because he got Kevin Hart hosting the roast. And then, like, I think you get about 5 minutes in, and don't get me wrong, bro. Like, I know it's a roast. I know that. And roasts, they roast. They roast for real, for real. Like, roasting is actually a genre of comedy in itself. And there haven't been a lot of roasts as of lately. And they say it's because we're all sensitive now and all that kind of stuff. But last night, if you guys get a chance to watch the roast, and I'm not gonna lie, I've actually considered doing a roast for my birthday. out of fun, bring my friends together. We all tell jokes. I just kind of sit there and enjoy the moment. Last night, though, was crazy. I keep saying last night. It was live on Netflix. It was live on Netflix. Like it aired live on Netflix, but it's available on Netflix now for you to watch. And let me just go ahead and put this thing in the ponytail because shout out to my hair getting long, y'all. Like it's getting there. You know, it's starting to get in the way. But as I was saying, like the jabs that they were taking, the joke caught me off guard. Like I'm not offended because truthfully, I am not related to Aaron Hernandez, bro. So there's no pain in that. But like, dog, like I was legitimately shocked at the amount of Aaron Hernandez jokes in that program. Like, oh man, hold on. You can't click the link. All right, hold on. Let me turn it into a QR code. You'll be able to check it out. Yeah, the amount of jokes. Hold on. All right, so here you go. This is the QR code showing now. This is the QR code to the Millie Bobby Brown interview on the red carpet circa 5 years ago. So 2019. She's 19 years old now, by the way. So she was 14 in this video. But yeah, so the amount of Aaron Hernandez jokes. So the order of jokes, and if you notice in the caption on these bottom thirds, that is exactly the order of how many jokes were thrown. Number one, Aaron Hernandez. Number two, Giselle jokes. They were going in on Giselle. Like, and apparently she wasn't too happy about that. And let's just say that just lets us know everything is true, bro. Apparently she did cheat on Tom Brady, which is like, yikes. And I also kind of picked up on the fact that there is a very good chance that they both went out soaring. But yeah, like, so the Aaron Hernandez jokes, and if you guys get a chance to watch it on Netflix, I won't spoil too many of it, but Randy Moss was there. There was a lot of jokes about Randy Moss not having a ring. And then there was mention of even Aaron Hernandez has a ring around his neck. And I was like, oh, it's like one of those, oh my God, wow. You know, as the program goes on, there's some jokes that I was like, all right, I don't know about that one, dog. I can't laugh at that. Like some jokes that were just, there was such thing as too far. And I think that they wanted this shock factor of like, you know, this ongoing joke that they kept saying that the only way to get a Netflix program is to be like gay or trans or woke or liberal and all that kind of stuff, which just lets you know that unfortunately we've lost Tom to the other side, right? And it was like that kept surfacing up throughout the night because there were some comedians that were like that. And it was just like, yo, the jokes just kept going, man, and going and going and going and going. And then there was a George Floyd joke. And I Aaron Hernandez, all right, cool, he murdered somebody. You know, you're at the liberty of people, how people want to remember your character, which is unfortunately you were a murderer. There was O.J. Simpson jokes. There was Nicole Brown, not Murphy, it's Eddie Murphy way. There was Nicole Brown jokes. You know, there was Deflategate jokes. There was Spygate jokes. There was a lot, but the George Floyd joke was, nah, I didn't like that one. And then there was also a Hamas joke, which, you know, Julian Edelman is Jewish. He could say that stuff, right? Or I think he thinks he can say that. I really believe that Julian Edelman probably believes that, hey, I can say a Hamas joke because I'm Jewish, but it's just like, nah, bro. Like, no, you can't say that. Like, you can say it, but it's out of line. So it was like it was really it started off really, really well. It started off going really good. Bill Belichick pulled up. And there probably at some point was some animosity between them. Definitely some animosity between Belichick and Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft's the owner of the Patriots. So watching that whole thing fizzle out was very, very interesting. But like I said, if you guys get a chance to check that out, I highly recommend that you do, because it caught me off guard pretty quickly and pretty well. But overall, it was pretty good. But other than that, there was a lot of backlash. Aaron Hernandez's wife or girlfriend, fiance, I'm not sure what they are. She's talked about it. She's officially put out word that she's like, I'm really not pleased with that. Like my daughter got to hear that and hear how y'all talk about his character. And it's like, man, it's not that he's, it's like, my whole reasoning for thinking that was a little out of line is because, like, the way the Patriots try to pivot away from that for branding reasons is like, y'all changed your logo, y'all did a jersey swap, and it's like, now it's like, it's jokes. It's like jokey joke. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was Tom Brady's favorite target, and it was just a lot of like, all right, bro, like y'all are really drilling the Aaron Hernandez jokes. So interesting to see that is jokes. They say 10 jokes are 10% truth. So it's interesting to see what everyone's perspective was on Aaron Hernandez, especially retro, looking back on it, which kind of brings me to my big point for the night, right? Is, and I know I have a little bit of time here and I'm getting hungry, so I definitely want to kind of wrap this up. But I've just been thinking about, I've been thinking a lot about the past, the past. And not in any kind of bad way, because I'm actually one of those people who I legitimately never have regrets. Like, never. Maybe, actually, I do have one regret. I have legitimately one regret. Maybe two. I'm thinking of two regrets right now. My first regret that I can honestly and transparently say that I have in life is I regret how I got into and got out of wrestling in high school. There was a lot, and it's more of one of those, like, there was a lot left on the table. I don't think there's anything in my life that I've ever done where I picked up on something and was good at it as fast as I was good at wrestling. I was not a big kid when I was younger. I was actually really, really small. I was 5'4", maybe 125 pounds when I started wrestling. Within weeks, I was 5'5", 138 pounds wrestling, right? And I was good. My first tournament, I won. I went 6-0, extremely fast in my season, and was kind of like becoming a very dominant force in wrestling. And I underestimated how bad it would hurt when you lose. Not physically, but like mentally, right? I don't remember my first loss, so don't ask me. But I remember losing, and losing became losing again, became losing again, and became losing again. And I went 6-5 real fast. Probably as fast as I went 6-0, I went 6-5 real fast. And ended up leaving the season, I believe, something like 15-8, 15-9, fourth in the district. Went on to regionals, wrestled some dude that was high school Floyd Mayweather. I think if you guys check out one of my shorts on my YouTube page, I talked about this where, yo, this dude was 54-0. Like, and I was 15-8, dog. I could just go out there and just try my best. You know what I mean? Give it a good old college try. Lost to him, went consolidation, and then ended up hyperextending my knee. At the time, I think I had like 2.2 GPA. I was stressed. I was down. I was like, there was just so much weight on me at 15 years old. I didn't really know what to do about it. And not to mention that my mother was on my back about grades. And the 2.2 GPA just scared the shit out of me. Like it's an ugly ass number. It scared me and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yo, I got to stick to what I know. And I quit wrestling. I had a fallout with my high school coach. We never actually fully made up from that situation. There's a lot of mutual respect. He went Hall of Fame, whatever. But we've never been like just solid cool like we were when I wrestled. And I regret that. I regret not knowing how to handle that situation because you're young and you think that, whatever. I just didn't know balance back then. So it was like I was taking AP classes and that shit was hard. And I was like, if this is really what college is like, I'm going to punch somebody. And so it was just mismanagement of the whole thing and then quitting wrestling and then leaving wrestling and realizing that like it turned me into that dog. Like it kind of like brought that dog out in me of like a really good way to channel anger management and all that kind of stuff. You learn self-defense. And I'm not saying that to say that I was like some angry ass kid or anything. That's not my point. What I'm saying is like it was teaching me something about myself that I wasn't learning anywhere else. I ran track. I didn't learn that shit in track. Played football. I didn't learn that shit in football. I ran cross country. I didn't learn it in football either. Wrestling taught me of like, hey, yo, like it's really just you against the world, you in that moment. It turned me into a real life like athlete. Unfortunately, I ended up stopping wrestling. So I'm still living with the 10% to 15%, 25% of how to wrestle that I know from back then with a little bit of, the wherewithal to kind of just manage myself. So that's that. That's the first thing I regret. And then the second thing I regret, this is a story that I hardly ever tell people, but I used to have a radio show back in college. And obviously the pipeline of life should have went like college radio station to nationally syndicated radio. That was supposed to be the pipeline, right? That was supposed to be the way things went. At least that's what I thought. Like it was just like you're a college player, somebody's got to draft you. And I'll never forget going into the interview at the time, it was CBS radio, and just like going into a room, and this was like the first time this ever happened to me. This was like 21, 22 years old. Going into a room and like being the standout, just absolutely being the standout. Like everyone's talking, they're responding, they're giving these answers, and I'm just being myself, but I'm standing out in a room of 25 people. I go to the next round of interviews. I go to the next round of interviews. I go to the next round of interviews. The problem was at the time, I did not have a car. And anyone that knows Tampa, Florida, the beautiful Bay, knows that it's damn near impossible to get around here without a car. And it was a huge commitment. It was a huge favor for me to go to these interviews. Like it took a lot, right? You're driving from New Tampa to just across the bay, just across the bridge over to St. Pete off of 4th Avenue North. And I'll never forget, like at the time, the person I was dating was like, hey, you've got to figure out like how you're going to manage this. And in my mind, I'm like, all things are possible. This is the biggest opportunity I've ever had. Like I have to do this, right? If it requires for me to take 2 buses across 2 hours over the bridge, I'll do it. Like I'll make sure I'm always on time. There was no Uber at this time. Uber was like right over the cusp. This is 2012, right over the cusp. If I would have waited, there would have been Uber, right? You know, that whole situation. And it was like, all right, well, you've got one more interview. You're coming in. You're gonna talk about like, you know, whatever. And the conversation came up and it became an argument of like, yo, you need to tell them you don't have a car just to be honest with them. And I'm like, dog, what? Why would I do that? Like, they don't need to know anything, bro. Like, and long story short, the tension from that conversation happened over and over and over again. And eventually I was like, all right, I'm gonna like, you know, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna hear that out, and I'm gonna let them know that it should be fine because this is the final interview. Like, they basically about to give me the keys to the building and the keys to the van, and we gonna be straight, bro. Like, all right, cool. And I just remember bringing that up, and I could just vomit in my mouth right now. You know what I'm saying? And the regret that I have is not going with my gut to just, you know, grind and just figure the whole situation out. Give me a second, y'all. Y'all know who's in here. Give me a second. I gotta. You're getting evicted, bro. All right. So yeah, it was, you know, my regret is just not just figuring that shit out on my own. Like, that changed so much trajectories of so many. I feel like in an alternate universe across the multiverse, another version of Alex probably followed his gut and ended up in radio and all that kind of stuff. And the regret is just the what ifs. Like, there was so much what ifs left over from that situation. That's just like, I can't believe I gave my fate away like that just off the strength. And I always think of that Thanos line from Avengers Endgame. That's just like, what did he say? Man, what does he say? He says, I can't give up my destiny, not even for you, or something like that. I think I wrote it down. Something like that. And so I say all that to say that, like, I think of the past. When I think of the past, I only think of those two regrets. Everything else has been a lesson. Everything, even those two, as much as they're regrets of mine, those are regrets because I legitimately think back of like, I should have done this. I can't believe I didn't. And it changed the trajectory of like everything, right? Everything else to me is like, it's a lesson. And when I think about that, I also think about, you know, this idea that if it's a lesson, then there's a lesson to be learned. And did you learn the lesson? Because, you know, there's a saying out there that's like, history repeats for those who don't learn history. And I feel like we're kind of going through that now, right? We have all of this nostalgia in the air, all of this nostalgia where we are obsessed with the 90s. We're obsessed with the 2000s, but we're not obsessed with the full story of the 90s and 2000s. And everything that happened in the 90s and 2000s is happening again. And we're almost just kind of living through it as if we're just like the sands of time just got flipped over. And all right, we're going to do this whole process again. And then it's just going to flip over. And I'm talking about war. I'm talking about politics. I'm talking about, you know, civil rights, you know, Roe v. Wade is being, you know, overturned. Like, how do we not learn from that situation? What's going on in the Middle East? You know, damn near genocide happening, right? From the same group of people who, you know, yeah, all of that, right? So it's just like there's a lot happening right now. And in personal life, in my own personal life, I kind of have been sensing this for quite a while of like, this legitimately has been happening in my personal life. I can't name everything because it's just, number one, it's too much. And number two, it's some personal things that I wouldn't want on a recording. But I immediately noticed it as, and y'all know me, I'm spiritual. I'm very into kind of just being the bigger picture and things like that. And I noticed that around us almost at all times, there's these cycles of like death and rebirth. And even for myself, there have been constant cycles of death and rebirth. Me doing this Days of Future Past, one, because I really like that movie and I like the comic book too. X-Men Days of Future Past, one of my favorite movies. Sending Wolverine back in time to make sure that they don't get samples off of Mystique, and that Mystique doesn't kill this gentleman so that he doesn't create the Sentinel program, and then they don't die in the future, right? It's like when I think of that, it's like, if you could go back in time and change stuff, what would you change? But what if you didn't have to go back in time? What if everything just happens all over again? Literally death and cycles of death and rebirth, right? Every year it snows, the grass dies, the leaves fall off, and in the very next year, the very next season, spring returns, the ice thaws, the grass grows, the seeds bloom, pollen happens, everybody buys Claritin, and then we continue on with the cycle. And if I don't know if you all watching this might experience this or feel this at all. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? I don't know if you guys ever experienced this at all, but for me, I'm going to talk for myself. Every single April, every March and April is the most miserable time of year, dog. Like, I'm not even kidding you. It is absolutely miserable. And I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it until maybe like 6 years ago, of just absolute misery. And then once it literally goes from April 30th to May 1st, everything figures itself out. Everything works out. Everything becomes smooth. And I don't know if it's maybe because I don't file my LLC till April 30th. That might have something to do with it. Like the little bit of like anxiety of like, oh my God, you need to go on Sunbiz and file your annual report. But no, it's literally every single year, and it brought me a couple years ago. And again, I'm going to be very, very transparent. There's a few things that, as I look back across all of these things, I think about this, and it's my father passed away on April 30th, 1998. My dad passed away. So that could possibly be it, but I have long stopped like grieving on that day and kind of just do things in commemoration. I plant something on that day. I always take a walk. It's very reflective, but it's not reflective in a painful kind of way anymore. Like, I just acknowledge that like this is the day, and this is the day that I can create something in memory of my father. When I turned 25, or when I was turning 25, I graduated from, well, I didn't graduate, but I finished school. Kanye. Oh, you graduated? No, I decided I was finished. I finished school and decided that I wasn't going to be able to go back. Like, I was like, yo, I got to like press the gas, bro. I can't not be in the workforce. I can't afford to be a student much longer. The loans are piling up, the loans are running out, and I need income, right? Again, didn't have a car, so I had to figure out, how do I get a car, and then how do I get income? As I was going through that, I decided to create. At the time I was an artist, I was a writer, I was like going hard, Mr. Marvel is what they called me. That's what I went by, Mr. Marvel. And I decided to create this project called My Real Vicious Life, right? And you can actually see one of my videos. One of my first videos on my YouTube channel is me talking about this entire kind of piece that I'm talking about, but I'm gonna go in so much more depth than that. And My Real Vicious Life was about the pains of leaving college, and the pains of like what I went through college and losing myself and trying to find myself, and then also trying to, oh my God, I proposed to this girl and I'm gonna try to do this thing, but also like, oh my God, I don't have like a male, guidance. I don't have a male father figure to help me. So like, help me. It was very, 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 very deep. It was a very, very deep and also kind of dark project. It was like 12, 13 tracks. And so if you have seen a certain video that I created called The Perfectionist was on that project. The Perfectionist was created long time ago, bro. Like when I tell you I was 19 years old when I made that beat and I wrote the song in 2014. Straight up, bro. I dropped out a few years ago, but the lesson I learned will help me transition my kids into that phase of life. Yeah, man. I think it has to. It has to. It 100% has to. There's definitely a value of education, and I definitely hold on to those stories of like people who are older who go back to school and they get their bachelor's at 70, 50, 60, when they can do it, right? And a lot of times those folks are inspired by their own kids. So it's definitely something that is not just, it's not to say that I haven't been in a place where I could figure that and fix that situation. So it's just something that I have to do. It's bucket list. It's before I die, go do that. And so going back to the project, it's like I wrote it and it was dark and all this kind of stuff. It was too dark. And anyone who knows me knows that the story gets fucked up for the next 5 years. The next 5 years of my life was pretty fucking bad. Right. And one thing that I do know for sure is that when it started to get bad, I immediately decided like, yo, I gotta figure out who I am. And I'm saying all this to say that's a very deep way of saying that, like, I fully believe that, like, bro, when you're a writer or when you're gifted with something, when you have a talent, that talent is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. You can't run from it, right? You will lose sleep over it and things like that. And so during that time, I also got jammed up on some stuff and ended up actually in a night in jail, ended up on probation. And when you're on probation, bro, you don't want to go anywhere. Like, to be honest with you, right? You don't want to have to do anything where you have to tell someone where you're going. I remember I went on a cruise and I left for the Bahamas and I was so sick from just like, do I have to tell that like, was I supposed to like tell them that I was leaving for the Bahamas? Like, I'm freaking out. I'm scared and shit like that. And that was around the time when I just decided to sit my ass down and start writing books. Like it just started kind of flowing out of me and stuff like that. And that was where I decided to channel all of my creativity for a good little minute. And obviously 5 years later, like I mentioned, was actually the start of COVID. And with the start of COVID came divorce. With the divorce came living alone. With living alone came like, oh shit. And you guys will never fucking believe. You will not believe the date. You will not believe the date where the rupture of this entire relationship that I'm referring to happened. It happened the year before. April, actually 2 years before, April 22nd or so like that. And then during the pandemic, 2020, literally April 29th, right? So it's like, and I'm like, yo, when you look back, when it was happening, I wasn't thinking about this. The year after, I wasn't, it wasn't something that I was thinking about at the time. But like, as life continues going, specifically 2 years ago, I remember just being like, fuck, man, like, I gotta pay my fucking taxes. I gotta do shit. I gotta this. Like, I'm started losing weight. And then May came. And then I'm like May 1st of 2022, I'm in fucking Europe. Like, just sun is shining different. The air feels different. The world feels much lighter. And like this keeps happening. And it happened last year. And it happened this year. And I'm just like, okay, like this is a season, like we have to just admit that these are seasons of rebirth, bro. Like we go through death and rebirth. And when you go into the grander scheme of things, yo, when you look at the bigger picture, it's just like, there's only one reason. There's only a couple of reasons why. There's only a couple of reasons why things repeat. And it's either A, you get a chance to apply a lesson you learned, or B, you didn't learn the lesson and it's just going to keep on fucking repeating itself, right? I get this question all the time. So all honesty, do you think it's something you're manifesting or attracting, or do you think it's inevitable intersection you just have to deal with? I think there is, like I said, there's two reasons why things repeat. Either A, you get a chance to apply a lesson you've learned, or B, you didn't learn the lesson and it's like, it's just going to keep, you didn't learn a lesson, you're just going to repeat itself. You didn't learn a lesson. When you don't know history, history repeats itself. And so, I mean, it's different every year, right? I mean, we pay taxes every year, right? So that's that, right? Taxes is very superficial. I just don't understand. Like, I don't have kids, bro, and I file singles. So like, Uncle Sam just be waxing, right? But overall, I think every year it's been something different, and every year it feels different. This year, it felt a little lighter. It felt a little different. It felt very much different, very, very different. And that's why I'm just like, okay, it feels different. It's still heavy. I still got shit I got to do. I still got things that are whatever. But May is here, and it's like, like what was I stressing about? Like, I feel better. I feel good. And so it's one of those things. And so when I think about that in the grand scheme of like not just year over year, but just life in general, like why, like it only has to come back to like purpose. And so my company's name is a play on words from My Real Vicious Life. It is My Real Vivid Life, because 2020 just felt like such a rebirth year. It felt like I got an opportunity to recreate myself, and I have, right? I no longer go by Mr. Marvel. I go by Alex August, just simply put. Still writing books, and now it's actually funny how the music came back into everything, right? Shout out to my boy Apollo. He came by my crib one time. Give me a second, y'all. This goddamn cat. I don't want to mess up my audio. But one year, my boy Apollo came by the crib, and he happened to see an old computer of mine that I had, and I think he ended up pointing it out. And when he ended up pointing it out is when I realized, I was like, oh, you know what's funny? Like that, there's a bunch of really old music on that laptop. And he's like, oh, word? I was like, yeah. So I happened to transfer a bunch of files off of it, and he came by, I think, again. And I was like, yo, it's crazy, dog. I heard all the songs on this computer. Let me let you listen to it. I was like, yo, these are actually good. Like, I was actually making really good music back in 2011 and 2012 and whatever. And I started a computer up, and it wasn't turning on. Like, it would turn on and it would just like cut off. And I did everything I could possibly do. Let me not say everything, right? I'm going to hold myself accountable. I didn't do everything because I didn't take it to a shop and take the hard drive off or anything like that. But I definitely was like, let me just try to, replace the battery. They don't make compact computers anymore, right? Everything is just HP. So I couldn't find a battery for it. It couldn't turn on. The fan wouldn't turn on. It just was non-operational. The Perfectionist, maybe a couple songs were on there, and I luckily I had moved them out like the week before, and somehow, some way, that made me realize, like, oh man, you need to back up all your files. So now I use the cloud and all that kind of stuff. And where I'm going with this is like listening to those songs on a Saturday morning, drinking coffee, making an omelet, whistling in my apartment, just vibing. it was like, yo, like, man, dude, this was kind of good. And once I heard the music all over again, it kind of sparked such a crazy idea in my mind. And it was like, oh wow, like there are things that I was writing about that ended up happening, and there was things that I was writing about that had not happened yet. Like at the time that I wrote what I was writing, such and such had not happened yet. 2018 started writing again. Yo, yeah, give me like 10. So it was like just everything just on a cycle. And I prayed about it and I gave it time, and I was like, all right, bro, like you will feel what you need to feel to get this, to get the lesson ready to apply it when it's next time, when the sands of time kind of flip over. And it's so wild. My boy DJ Brightlight asked me last week, he was like, why are you rapping again? And I gave him an honest answer of just like, yo, I'm more equipped to do that again. I'm more equipped to do that. Listen, let me tell you something. When your girl is hungry and you say we're gonna go get something to eat, yeah, you better, So I'm wilding right now. So yeah, man, the sands of time. My ass was like, yeah, we gonna go eat after I'm done streaming. Yeah, but the sands of time are kind of flipping back over, and it's just like we are equipped to do something that we were not equipped to do then. Like we just weren't equipped to do it. And it's even funnier, right? The original project, My Real Vicious Life, it inspired so many like non-rap ideas and projects, just a song, because it's a story. It's actually a full-blown cyclical story. And Dat Piff goes down, I think last year. And I was like, damn, yo, I never downloaded it. Like I never downloaded the project. I actually don't have the project anymore. Like I don't own it. I don't have the computer that it was created on. I don't have the files anywhere. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then out of nowhere, they're just like, yeah, hey, by the way, Dat Piff is back and you can download the music back. And so I downloaded it back and again, listened to it again. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like this shit is trash. But The Perfectionist was good enough for me to like want to make a music video out of it. It's available on my YouTube channel now. And it just kind of I'm like, holy shit, bro. So I'm saying all that to say that the concept of why I even named this stream Days of Future Past is because that's like huge. That to me, it's like you can't, when it's there, bro, it's like, you can't it's really hard to ignore. Everything is shifting and replaying itself exactly how it was. And the only reasons why that would be happening, bro, is because either A, you didn't learn your lesson, or B, now you get to apply your lesson. And I have a hard time believing I didn't learn my lesson. I learned my lesson. I learned the lesson the hard way. So this is like, it's just, and so I didn't realize it, but as I started kind of compiling and like over the last like 2 years, just kind of compiling and looking through and all this kind of stuff, I realized that I have 60 songs. 60. There's new songs that I've also written, and you probably heard them on videos and things like that if you follow me on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But like 60. And so I am, all of these streams that I'm doing are part of, I'm trying to be a little marketing genius or whatever. But all of these streams, every single one of these streams that I have in the next 11 weeks are the creations of something new. And so the creation that's coming from this stream is going to be basically here in the next day. I'm not releasing an album in the next day, but I think it's just time to really like roll out with that. And I don't think like it's a very complex world we live in where it's just like, oh, well, you gonna be a rapper now, and nah. I think it's easier to just be a content creator. You know what I'm saying? Music is content. Drake is a content creator. I think it's just easy to just do it this way. Like, there were so many things that did not exist in 2011 and 2012. You could not get your song on Spotify in 2011. Like there was no DistroKid. There was none of that kind of stuff. There was no doing your own stuff yourself and all this DIY shit that we know today. Like there's none of that. Like there's absolutely none of that. So I will say that I do want to put out music. The intention is 100% to put out music in packageable formats. And with the amount of video work that I'm doing right now, like it's the wave, dog. And I know I talked about that the last stream. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is like the very, very formal kind of like manifesto to say that and to really put that there. And of course I got DJ Brightlight. Remember last time you were like, oh, so I'm over him? Come on, fucking board. You know what I mean? So it's just there's such a way to do this now in an ideal kind of way that I see that I'm just like, yo, bro, like the way that it's been, you know, kind of just over my shoulder and just on top of my head and just looming. It's like, all right, well, you gotta honor the feelings you feel. And do I want to add a third regret, or do I want to just ride with it, bro? You know? So I will say, the only thing I'll say is that I do have a direction that I'm going in and all that kind of stuff. And everything that I've talked about today was like coded for that. So, you know, y'all know the groove. Subscribe to me. Shout out to Crud K. Thanks for joining, bro. Feel free to you know, follow me. I do these streams on Wednesday nights, 8:30, as well as play games, right? I know Twitch is, according to Paul, I have my category incorrect. But you know, I do stream games. Helldivers 2 is kind of all I've been playing right now. But yeah, man, follow me on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. Check out the videos. There's a lot of really dope videos coming, a lot of really cool projects coming along, and a lot of really dope streams coming along as well. So, yeah, man, I ain't trying to get cursed, and I'm getting hungry too. Like, let me stand up for myself, bro. I'm getting hungry too. Okay, this requires a lot of calorie burn. Me sitting here talking for 2 hours and 10 seconds. Okay, I'm hungry too. But yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. So look, man, I'm gonna be here next week, 8:30 Wednesday. I'll be talking World in Progress, man. I'm gonna be talking to you guys about where everything is, right? How far are we along the progress bar are we in terms of some of the cool creations, and then also just announcing dope shit that I'm just trying to do in the next 7 months, man. So it's dope. I'm really, really excited. But right now I had one of those 12 ounce, I think, or 14, maybe even 16 ounce Celsiuses. Don't do that, dog. I didn't even drink it fast. I drink it very, very slowly. But don't do that to yourself. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna sign out, and I wish you all a great Wednesday night and a great rest of your week, a great hump day, a great weekend. Follow me on all things. I am Alex August as I build my real vivid life. And also, I've created a video challenge where the rest of this month, I'm going to be creating a horror movie or horror flick, horror reel. I don't know how far it's going to go. Paul Wall from 561. I was actually gonna ask you if you could help me with this because I have an idea. Yeah, so if you want to see the behind the scenes and what that looks like, and the behind the scenes of all things that I'm creating, yo, check me out on Patreon. I'm officially on Patreon. And I will say that the beauty to Patreon is one, it's kind of all there, right? I get to dump and create and house all of my creations and all my content there. There's also no copyright there. I think that's one of the dopest things about it. There's no copyright. So we're kind of in our own room of our own, kind of just doing things and just vibing, man. So check me out on Patreon, follow me on Patreon. And also, if you're interested in as well, talking creations, collaborations, and behind the scenes dope stuff, also check me out on Discord. I gotta go. Let me drop that link actually a little longer. But yeah, man, y'all stay safe. Enjoy your Wednesday night, and I will catch you on the flip side. I'm probably gonna jump on Helldivers 2 tonight, so follow me and let's have